Right, welcome to our first algebra video. We're going to look at writing algebraic expressions, part 1. In mathematics, we often use symbols or letters to represent numbers. This part of mathematics is called algebra. The word algebra comes from an Arab word, algebra. Example 1. Something plus 4 equals 10. Well, you've already figured out, I hope, that the missing number is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. But we don't use squares to represent numbers we don't know. We use letters or symbols. So we could have written x plus 4 equals 10. Or n plus 4, or g plus 4, or alpha plus 4. Alpha is a Greek letter of the alphabet. Or gamma plus 4. Gamma, it looks a bit like a Y, is another Greek letter of the alphabet. Most people like to write x plus 4 equals 10. Here is example 2 and 3 together. X plus 8 equals 10. Well, x must equal 2 in example 2, because 2 plus 8 is 10. But in example 3, x plus 3 equals 8. X has to be equal to the number 5, because 5 plus 3 equals 8. Now notice x is 2 or 5, depending on what problem we're solving. So x could change. So x is called a variable, because it can change depending on what problem we're solving. A variable is a letter or a symbol that represents a number. Example 4, a number plus 4. We write this as x plus 4. X is a number, a variable, but we could have used another variable like t plus 4, or a plus 4, or n plus 4. Doesn't matter what variable you choose to use. Example 5, a number subtract 8. We write this as x subtract 8, a number x take away 8. Example 6, a number multiplied by 5. X multiplied by 5 is how we could write it, but in algebra we don't write it like this. We prefer to write it as 5x. We put the number first and we do not use a multiplication sign in algebra. So always put any numbers first and do not write the multiplication sign. So example 7, a number multiplied by 3. Remember, we put the number first and we don't use a multiplication sign. So we write it as 3x, or 3p, or 3n, depending on what variable you used. Looking at 3x, the 3 out the front that gets multiplied by the x is called a coefficient. The x we've already talked about is called a variable. In another expression, n plus 4, there is no number out the front of the n. Well, there's a 1. So it has a coefficient of 1, the variable is n, and any number that we plus on at the end or subtract at the end is called a constant. Alright, example 8. Two numbers are multiplied together. So we could have written it as a times b. The two variables are a and b, the two numbers. But remember, in algebra we don't use a multiplication sign, so we prefer to write it as AB. We could have used xy or mn, doesn't matter which variables you chose to use. Remember, we do not write the multiplication sign. Finally, example 9, a number divided by 5. We could write x divide 5, but in algebra we don't use the divide sign, so we write it as x over 5. We use the fraction symbol. So in algebra we use a fraction sign instead of the divide sign. Alright, thank you very much for watching.